You know, as interesting as the Malice Green trial has been, perhaps more interesting to me has been the response of some suburban brethren we have who want to have Budzyn and Nevers pardoned, who also are trying to raise monies for their defense. What is your read on that, Larry, and what does that say about where we are as a community and a region?
Well, you know, there are always indications, Cliff, that we are still cleaved in America, in this region, on the question of race. And all you have to do is listen to one of our local radio talk stations, and you will hear the sentiment that is now galvanized around exonerating these officers. I tell you, for me, the real story here is that 140 years after our parents were in slavery, and the American justice system said that we had no rights that a white man was bound to give credence to.
That was the law.
That was the law of the land from the Supreme Court. We had a trial in which the former slaves were adjudicating the offspring of former slave masters and did so fairly. There was not a wholesale conviction here. One person was found innocent, and all of the players in this, blacks and whites together, gave their best. Now, I tell you, I thought that they were guilty based on what I heard. But you know what? If that jury had found them innocent, that would have been the end of the story for me. Because what you had here, if we can't find fairness and justice in that situation, then there's none to be found in America. Unfortunately, when justice arrives and it doesn't go the way some people wanted to, who are accustomed to seeing us obedient and subservient, they think then that they have to overturn that. I feel sorry for them.
Let's talk about Budzyn and Nevers right now. Was that I won't say painful, but a difficult trial for you in the fact that these were police officers, that the case had received so much notoriety and attention in Detroit, that there was so much focus on you in this case?
It wasn't the most difficult case I'd ever done. It was the most challenging in the sense that Doug and I were constantly scrutinized and fly-specced and questioned about everything that we did. But we know that we had worked very hard and put together what we thought was a very solid case. And so I never lost my confidence that we were going to prevail. And I knew that it was tight. I knew that we had done everything that we could possibly do. And I knew that when I sat down at the end of my closing argument that there's nothing else that I could have done because I did my best. And so I felt really good about the work that both Doug and I did. So it was hard at first being microscoped and fly-specked, but you really forget about that. And I don't have a problem with my focus, and I was extremely focused on what I was supposed to be doing, and I really didn't think about what was going on around me.
Doug Baker, of course, is the other assistant Wayne County prosecutor who, as a team with Kim Worthy, were the prosecutors prosecuting Larry Nevers and Walter Budzyn. A lot of things have been said about your style. I've heard everything from very intense. Some people said a legal pit bull. How would you describe your How would you describe your style?
It's interesting. I don't think I was any more or less aggressive than any of the male attorneys that were practicing in that same case. And I think they're saying that about me. And I think mainly because I'm a woman. And I don't have any problem with that. I can't imagine prosecuting a homicide case when someone has lost a loved one. And when you have repercussions like we have for this trial and being anything but aggressive and competent. I've always been very confident about my abilities, and I know that I am competent, so I just act accordingly. And I think that you have to be aggressive, you have to be insightful, you have to be intense sometimes.
Well, in fact, we have a little bit of you in the courtroom. Let's take a look now at Kim Worthy in action.
You were more concerned with getting your cigarettes, your lighter, and the ID card and the narcotics than someone possibly killing your client, weren't you? Your partner, weren't you?
You want me to answer? I'm telling you what I saw.
That isn't what I asked you, because you've already clearly established you didn't see a thing. You didn't hear nothing, you didn't see nothing, you didn't do nothing.
Well, Your Honor, she's arguing with the witness at this point, and I would object to this line of question.
Well, there we have it. You seem to be giving it to Mr. Budzyn pretty strongly there on the stand. Is that your intent to, I won't say intimidate the person on the stand, but certainly cut it to the chase, put some pressure on them?
Well, it's not intimidation, it's cross-examination. And I thought his story was, and I call it a story deliberately, was highly incredible. And I wanted the jurors to be able to decipher that information for themselves. And there were questions that I think that everybody had, and I just asked them. I asked the questions that I thought they may have been wondering about as they listened to his testimony. And to me, it made absolutely no sense. And so I wanted him to tell me how it was that this could have happened the way he said it could.